Hey, let's mix it up this morning. We were going to cover the case studies last. I think let's cover the case studies first. They're
Okay,
relatively short, but I think they're relevant for what we want to talk about right now.
sure.
So, guys, real life real estate, right? Um,
Mhm.
Things happen and they happen often. So I'd rather collectively answer questions to all of you so you don't have to. Happy early Valentine's Day to you too, Pamela.
Yes,
Um,
thank you.
so you don't just second guess yourselves as much because
Hmm.
mostly you know what to do. But oftentimes you call us, and this is not a complaint. You're welcome to call us anytime you want, but we just reconfirm when it is. And these are business decisions. You're making a lot of decisions. So here's two case studies that I came across this week. And it's funny because y'all text me these things and and then I pick up the phone and I call you back. But here's a question. I get an email or a text or whatever it was, and it's a copy of a listing agreement where the seller had written back, "Hey, I don't agree with these points." And the agent writes me back saying, "Hey, what should I do about this?" And I say, "Well, it's really a business decision." So, and then I write myself notes on what I said because this happens a lot. So, in the compensation paragraph of the listing agreement, it has a whole bunch of different provisions, right? If
Yeah,
we sell your house, you're going to pay us X% of money.
right,
Simple. But it also says if we lease your house, you're going to pay us fill in the blank 10%. We've pre-filled 10%.
right.
Right. And it also says that if you get to receive a forfeited deposit, we get 50% filled in the blank, automatically filled. And oftentimes the seller takes issue with that. And there's a problem. It means number one, we didn't explain it to them,
Right.
or two, they've got bad intentions.
Hmm.
So here's my response. Sounds like you have a business decision to make. He or she, I don't know which one it was, is telling you that they want the ability to screw you and they want a lesser penalty. 10% of the gross lease value would only be an issue if you present him with a lease that is acceptable to them during our listing period.
Right.
Joe, do we have to present all offers?
Yes.
So if I gave you an offer to rent your house that's not for rent, would you have to present it to the seller?
Yes.
If I was a Tampa Bay Buccaneer and I just needed a place to stay for 6 months and I'm making
Hmm.
$40 million a year, might I pay $10,000 a month for just a convenient place close to the stadium where I can go to work and practice?
Absolutely.
Would your seller maybe consider $10,000 a month for a $400,000 house?
He probably would.
You probably would. Wouldn't you like to get paid your percent of that?
I would consider it. He can move right in.
I'd consider it too. You can move in my house, but I don't live close to the stadium, right? So that's an opportunity. So in the
Right.
event something crazy like that were to happen, the
Hmm.
listing agreement covers it.
Right.
And then it goes on to say that if we get, it says, the listing agreement says that our commission is due at the time of contract,
Yes.
right? We get paid, we agreed to get paid at closing, but our commission is earned at time of contract. And you want me as a seller, right, Joe, to
Yeah.
get the biggest deposit I can get
Absolutely.
because I want to lock in the guy, right? If I lock him in really well and I do a good job as your agent and I get a $20,000 deposit and he forfeits it because of something happened in his life and he couldn't follow through on the contract,
Right.
the seller wants to be enriched by $20,000 and wants us to get nothing for our effort, even though we did all the work.
That's right. Negotiated, advertised, did open houses.
All that stuff, and he gets all the benefit, and we get nothing, even though we procured the contract and followed it through and did all the negotiations. That's not
Hmm.
fair.
Hmm.
And then we still get the listing back and we sell it again. So we split the deposit that we get, which is why I want you guys to get, I don't care what you get for the original deposit. I do care what you get for the additional deposit.
Right.
And that should be a painful amount of money. So if somebody walks away, they walk away and it hurts them.
And
Right.
by the way, I mean, if once you do your inspection and you know you're closing, to put an additional deposit for a couple weeks is not that big of a deal. You're going to need that money for closing cost anyway.
Exactly. It's not like you're making a ton of interest on it. So
No.
no, we're not talking about $100,000 or anything. We're talking 10 or $20,000.
Right.
All right. So my answer was they're trying to screw you or they don't understand. So your job as a salesperson is to make sure they understand and say, stand up for your rights. No, wait a
Hmm.
minute. If I can't help it. If a Buccaneer came and wanted to pay you $10,000 a month, would you consider it? Delay your sale for 6 months? Yeah, you might. And if I brought you that, I want to be paid.
Right.
If you don't want to do that, then don't accept a lease and you don't have to pay me anything. But if you do accept a lease, I get paid. You should be able to sell your way out of that bag. And then the
And,
second one, 50% of the deposit
and
is,
Craig, by the way, 4 months into a listing, the motivation of the seller might change, and that will work to lease it for 6 months.
it might be a very good idea to give
Yeah.
them $60,000.
Mm-hmm.
Their payment is only two.
Right.
That's 18. They make 42 grand. That's more than most people's salaries.
Right.
Right. And then defending your 50% of the deposit. Hey man, if I bring you a deposit, I mean, I've got one I took a hit on. I agreed to take 10% of the deposit, but my deposit's $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
So if the buyer forfeits $1 million, I'm okay with 100 grand.
Right.
Right. And I'm
Right.
okay with the seller getting 900 grand. They get the expense more than I do.
Right.
Right. But so there's reasons why you would negotiate, but don't just roll over. So that was example number one, case study number one, that I think comes to me a lot because you're asking for
Mm-hmm.
permission. And honestly, you can do what you want to do, but I'd rather teach you how to stand up and defend yourself than just roll over.
Right.
All right. My dog gets closer and closer to me at night, and I try to roll her over, and she pushes back because she doesn't want to leave. Right. So same thing for you. Just push back. Don't just roll over. Okay. This is a little more complicated. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I will call you later regarding the foreclosure probate case we talked about yesterday. Can I list the property now when the lawyer? Okay, so we got a house that is in probate.
Right.
The person died and is assigned a personal representative to handle their estate. The estate
Mm-hmm.
has not gone through probate yet, which means we can't pass clear title.
Right.
So the agent wants to list the house now, is
Mm-hmm.
asking me if they should list the house now and put it on the market
Mm-hmm.
because they're concerned, and this is a very valid concern, real life real estate and contract mastery. What does a probate agent have, a probate attorney have in their pocket? Think, Lisa.
A probate attorney have in their pocket another real estate agent
Another real
working.
estate agent they like to work with,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we have the personal representative that wants to hire us, and we got a probate attorney who probably has a real estate agent in their pocket. Not saying they
Right.
get kickbacks or anything, but somebody they
Right.
like to work with.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to lock up the deal. The lawyer told me to check with him in a month. I said I would be consulting with the in-house attorney to see if they would let the lady sign the listing contract since the lawyer for the probate, was assuring me. Blah, 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 blah. Anyway, the concept is that
Right.
we've got a personal representative who wants to hire us, and the agent says, "Well, I guess I got to put it on the market then." And I'm saying, "No, you don't want to put it on the market because I asked the question, Joe, if you were the agent and you put it on the market now, and I bring you an offer, and you
You
say,
got
sorry, I don't know when we can close,
right.
how happy am I going to be as a buyer's agent?
You're not going to be happy at all because I wasted a lot of time showing your property.
And is the buyer going to be upset? Yes, I found this
Yes.
house. I love this house, but I can't have this house. I got to go into contract for an indeterminable amount of time.
Right.
No. And then same thing.
I think it's important to talk this thing of probate is there's a thing called letters of authorization that the probate attorney needs to get from the court, which says the personal representative has the right to sell the house and is the personal representative. And this is the will we're following. And so those letters of authorization dictate how things are going to happen, where proceeds go, if they can go directly to the heirs or do they have to go into probate? And it also at that time determines is the house homesteaded or not homesteaded, because that
Mhm.
has a huge determination on how probate proceeds. Because it's how people can attach to the house. If it's homesteaded, personal loans like credit cards and stuff like that can't attach. But if it's not homesteaded, it can. So there's a difference in how proceeds would be handled in that. And that's a short probate lesson, but
Yeah, very much, very short, but it's okay. Because the concept here is chances are the probate attorney's got an agent in their pocket they like working with. We got a
right,
personal representative wants to hire you. We don't
right,
want to put on the market for a bunch of reasons. Number one, it's not ready on the market. Number two, it's going to be time on market we can't sell. When it is actually available for sale, it's going to show up with 120 days on market, and
right.
people are, what's wrong with this house? So what's
Yeah.
the solution? Dun, 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 list it now.
And put in the deferred listing
Yeah,
in the
MLS
MLS.
entry or waiver,
Right.
waiver of entry.
Yeah.
right? But list it now so the
Yes.
attorney can't slide their friend in there,
Right.
right? So get the
Right.
listing agreement now listed for 8 months or 10 months if you have to, and get
Hmm.
an MLS waiver of entry for 30 days.
Right.
Then check with the attorney in 30 days. If it's ready, put it active. If
Hmm.
not, get an extension of your MLS waiver of entry.
Right.
Check with them in 30 days. If it's not ready yet, get another extension. If it's ready, put it on the market.
Yeah.
So pretty simple concepts,
Yeah.
but
Dick
remember,
brought up a good point. Probate's out of state because if
yeah,
a person lives here but is a resident of another state, there it complicates probate because they got to have probate in both states. So, yep. Thanks,
because
Dave.
probate basically puts a notice to the public saying, hey, this guy died. Does he owe anybody money? Or he or she or whatever. You don't want to put it active in the MLS for two reasons. One, it's not ready for sale. And number two, it's going to count against you on days on market.
Yeah.
And there's no section in MLS for probate. And
No.
why would you want to shop a house that's not really for sale? Can probate take a long time, Joe?
Yes.
It could
Yeah.
be 30 days. It could be 6 months. It could be 2 years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just an unknown. So when
It
these
just
things come up,
things can be contested and then it's even longer. So it
mhm,
just th- like I said, there's a letter of authorization that the attorney would get. That's the go button when you can start moving to actually put it on the market.
yeah. Okay, I'm going to I got a bunch of buttons open here. Uh, just explain buyer's agent the status of probate is unknown and when it's going to clear. Yeah, that's fine, Lana, but
Yeah.
the buyer wants a house now. They're shopping for a house now because they need a house now. They don't need a house for some indeterminable amount of time in the future. So
Right.
don't waste people's time by putting houses on the market that aren't ready,
Yeah.
right? And you never get a second chance to make a first impression. While that stuff's going on, consult with the personal representative and make the house marketable.
Yeah.
Do landscaping.
Take the time to get rid of the junk, and if you need to get someone to come in and dress it up, paint, clean carpets, get that ready.
Yep. Okay. Now, so those are two case studies for today. I hope you guys find those things relevant because they are going on in our lives and we
Yeah.
want to make it easy. I don't
Yes.
think we'll have time to get to the code of ethics today because we're going to cover paragraph 9,
Right.
the contract, which has a lot of stuff in it.
Yes.
So, Joe, without further ado, I'm going to go to share my screens here.
I actually printed it out so I could read it.
I read better on the monitor because it's
Well, you
36
have a big
inches.
monitor. I'm looking on a 12-inch screen, so it's a little difficult.
Okay, so let's not dive really, really deep until it becomes important.
Right.
There's a really sneaky paragraph, number 9, that I want to
Mm-hmm.
make sure you guys pay a lot of attention to because we've been burnt on this before.
Mm-hmm.
Joe, I don't think you and I spoke about this specifically yesterday.
Right.
Notice, guys, when you're reviewing a contract, if there's an asterisk on the line,
Mm-hmm.
it means there's a blank spot
Yes.
and there's something to check
Or can be filled in.
or could be filled in, right? So here's an asterisk on line 141, which says other.
Right.
So paragraph 9, we're not going to do finance. We did that recently. So we ended up last week at assignability. We talked about reasons people would assign for trust and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. So
Mm-hmm.
paragraph 9 talks about closing cost fees and charges. Now,
Right.
the title company does most of this, so you don't have to become super anal about it,
Mm-mm.
but you do have to understand it
Right.
because there are no set rules in real estate of who pays for what. But the contract is very specific about who pays for what.
Mm-hmm.
So paragraph 9A is closing costs to be paid by the seller.
Right.
Just rattle those off for us real quick.
Well, for we got documentary stamps and taxes and surcharge on the deed. So that's the seller releasing his deed. Owner
And
policy
that's
and
that's a 70 cents per thousand,
correct.
right? So if
Mm-hmm.
$100,000 house, it'd be divided by 1,000, be $490.
Right.
Okay, number just
Oh,
rattle.
okay. Owner's policy and charges. If paragraph 9C is checked, blah, blah, blah. Title search and charges. Municipal lien search. Charges for FERPTA withholding and reporting. HOA condominium association estoppel fees. Recording and other fees needed to cure title. Seller's attorney fees. Seller's closing services and other.
Other's the one that's really scary.
Other is yes. Other can bite you in the butt. Craig.
Okay, so Joe, on a scale of 1 to 10, of 10 contracts, how
Mm-hmm.
many agents write seller to pay 3% of purchase price toward buyer's closing cost in the special terms at the bottom?
Um,
Probably 9%, 9
yeah,
out of 10.
yeah, 9 out of 10.
Have you ever seen somebody write it in other?
Yes,
Is it appropriate to put it in others? Oh,
yes,
yes. How
yes.
many agents check other in paragraph line 141?
Not well, maybe 10% of them will put them there. The other
Yeah,
90 will put in additional terms. I will put it in both. I'll say see paragraph was
9A.
20 or whatever. And then or see line 588, which is the additional terms.
There you go.
All right. So I do both because then that way no one can say you didn't put it in the right place. So, you know, so
Guys,
I kind of
clarity comes will keep you out of trouble.
yeah, it's just one more easy thing. I put C line 588, okay,
Mhm.
which then would be because you can't put in there seller, that doesn't have enough room to put seller to pay, 3% of buyer's closing costs, prepaids, and VA non-allowable. I mean, there's not enough room in there.
Right. But
So,
I've had it happen, and this is, God is my witness. We had an
yep.
agent receive an
Mm-hmm.
offer on our listing, and right
Mm-hmm.
there on line 41, it said other
Mm-hmm.
6% of purchase price,
Right.
6% of seller's closing costs,
Right.
or 6%
6%.
of buyer's closing costs.
Right.
And our agent didn't catch it.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to closing and we got the settlement statement, and our seller's net was 6% lower than they expected it to be. And our agent said,
Mm-hmm.
"This is wrong." And the other agent said, "No, it's right there in the contract. It says right there, other 6% of purchase price toward closing cost."
Yep.
So
Yep.
what happened?
You're stuck
You're
because
stuck. We
you're
had to
stuck.
pay. We paid the sell. It cost me, the company, 3% to sell that house
Right.
because we had to pay 3% to the other broker because they were obligated. They did their
Right.
job.
Right.
We didn't do it. We got caught. So, guys, it's a warning, fair practice. Pay attention to this page 3, paragraph 9, line 141. If there's a blank in there, check your contract for blanks.
Mm-hmm.
Put NA or C below or something. Don't hide from it. Right.
Right.
And then it goes on to say, if prior to closing, seller is unable to meet the as-is maintenance requirement as required
Mm-hmm.
by paragraph 11, a
Mm-hmm.
sum equal to 125% of the estimated costs to meet the as-is maintenance requirement shall be escrowed at closing. So,
Mm-hmm.
Joe, if it said seller to repair the fence and we had a fence bid of $3,000 to repair it, we got to save 125% of that, or 3,000,
Well, in this
3,750.
contract, it's just maintenance, right? Because it says as is maintenance because
That's
there's no
true.
repairs in the as is contract.
Ah, good point.
All right. So this just says if I
Okay,
arrive
he didn't mow the yard,
or the pool was green
or the
or
pool was green, or some of those maintenance things,
right,
and it's $200 to mow the yard, you get escrow $250
right,
to make sure, if it's extra high, you got to pay extra. So
right.
it's in there. The contract has it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing
Yep.
for buyers. Buyers costs to be paid. I'll do this one.
Yep.
Buyers pay taxes and recording fees on the notes and mortgages. That's fair. If they were paying
Mm-hmm.
cash, there would be no fees. So it's buyer's cost.
Right, right,
Recording fees for the
right.
deed and the finance statements. That's fine. Have
Mm-hmm.
your intangible tax. Owner's policy and charges. If it says buyer pays, seller picks, buyer, seller pays, that's the 9C2.
Right.
Survey and elevation certificate if required, buyer's
Mm-hmm.
cost. Lender's title policy endorsement.
Mm-hmm.
HOA condominium association application and transfer fees.
Right.
Seller pays for the estoppel, buyer pays for the application fees.
Right.
Municipal lien search if paragraph 9C2 is checked.
Right.
And if 9C1 is checked, so you got to make sure which one's checked.
Right.
And then loan expenses, appraisal fees, buyer inspections, buyer's attorney's fees, all prepaid related insurance, owner's policy premium, if paragraph 9C3 is checked, and then
Mm-hmm.
buyer's closing services, and then the dreaded line 154, other.
Other.
Buyer, if you overwrite, now the handwritten provision, we covered this in standards about 3 weeks ago. The handwritten provision overrides the pre-printed text. So
Yeah.
if I put buyer cost to be paid by buyer to pay seller's title insurance, and that's in there, and you don't catch it, and the seller initials this page and signs the bottom,
Right.
seller's paying buyer's paying title insurance. And I'm not saying to do this to be tricky. I'm
No.
saying do this to be clear, to make sure
Most
you know
of
what you're getting into.
most of the time in that box, I see where they put in their transaction fees, where I see a buyer agent putting in there.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Right? And that doesn't affect us if we're the seller's agent, but if we're the
No.
buyer's agent, that's a good
No.
place to, if it's not in there otherwise.
Yeah.
All right, we have it in our buyer broker agreement, which is a
Right.
whole new world now.
Yes.
Okay. Paragraph 9C, title evidence and insurance
Mm,
and insurance. At
yes.
least it's
15
blank.
days.
Most
Yeah.
agents don't fill this out, guys.
No. Yeah,
They
they
really
do.
don't. And I really don't like that. I like to see if it says if blank 15, write 15.
Hmm.
Remember, clarity is your friend.
Yes.
If it nothing in there, it's easy you overlooked it. And just be sure, because these things have to balance. I was talking to an agent yesterday, a manager yesterday, about a problem with an agent,
Hmm.
and the buyer can't get their financing.
Mm,
And the same thing comes up. They want a denial letter. They don't need a denial letter.
not
My
required.
question, if they want to get out due to financing for whatever reason, are they within the loan approval period?
Yep.
And the loan approval period was 30 days because
Right.
that's what it says blank.
Right.
Closing was 30 days.
Right.
So the closing's 30 days out, loan approval's 30 days. They can cancel anytime they want just by
Correct.
saying, seller, I can't get financing.
That's right.
So we screwed up by accepting that offer. We should have put loan approval period 20 days
Right.
or 23 days to give us some wiggle room so the seller could have, we have no grounds now. And that could be considered negligent, honestly. And I
What,
don't like that. So
what,
if there's a
one of the
blank, get your calculator out and your calendar out and look.
one of the questions I ask the lender when I'm calling them, when I get an offer and I call the lender and I ask them, how long is it going to take you to get loan approval?
Perfect.
All right. Because then I'm not relying on the agent to tell me, I'm relying on the lender to tell me, oh, I can have loan approval in 2 weeks. I got everything.
Yeah, but lenders lie. I prefer going after closing date is March 31st. I want
Right.
loan approval by March 21st.
Right. And
Right?
there's no reason why they can't. You're always going to have exceptions to loan approval.
Yes. But the loan approval period in the contract is the loan approval period in the contract. So if it's
Right.
March 21st, you better damn well tell me fish or cut bait by the 21st, or
Right.
you're going to waive your financing contingency and the contract will be perceived as if paragraph box 8A was checked, which is cash. All right. So 15 days, at least 15 days prior to the closing date, the seller must deliver title insurance committed
Title
to the
insurance.
buyer.
Yep.
Now that's if there's a mortgage. If it's a cash deal, if 8A is checked, it's 5 days
Prior to closing.
prior to
Right.
closing. So if you're closing, your closings generally aren't going to be in 5 days. So
No.
you're probably good there.
Yeah.
Um, and then it goes on to explain what title insurance is, and Megan does a good job of covering all that for you guys. So we won't spend
Hmm.
a lot of time on 9C,
Right.
of that part anyway. Um, Then it goes on to say closing services shall have the meaning ascribed to that term in section Florida statutes. Each party shall bear their own closing services fees payable to the closing agent or such other provider as each party may select. Let's talk
Correct.
about that in real life, right?
Hmm.
Who, okay, all title companies, guys, get this straight. All title companies charge the same amount.
Right.
Florida is a promulgated rate state. Every title
Insurance.
charges the same amount, right?
Right.
And but they do change their closing fees. Like
Hmm.
Paramount Title has a different closing fee for cash than they do for a mortgage because it's
Right.
easier. So it's less expensive for a cash closing than it is for a mortgage closing. Less
Correct.
notarization, less overnighting, less all that stuff. So we have fees that we charge. The other way to do it is with a lawyer. What have you typically seen lawyers charge, Joe?
A lot of money.
More.
Yeah.
So if a title company's closing fee is $795, the lawyer will be $1,200.
Yeah.
Oftentimes. So just
And
check those.
oftentimes because he has to subcontract out to get a lot of stuff done because he doesn't have people in house to do this.
Correctly.
All right.
100%. They're not title
Right.
companies, they're
Right.
lawyers.
Right.
All right. So so that'd be 9C1, seller
Mhm.
shall designate the closing agent and pay for the owner's policy and charges.
Right.
Seller picks, seller pays.
Correct.
Buyer shall pay premiums for any lender's title policy endorsements because they got a loan. They make the seller pay for your loan.
Right.
Well, two, you do two.
Buyer shall designate closing agent and pay for owner's policy and charges and premiums for any lender's title policy and endorsements.
Commonly said, buyer picks, buyer pays.
Buyer pays, correct.
Or
And
three,
and then Miami Broward region provision, buyer shall designate closing agent and pay for premiums for owner's title policy, any lender's title policy and endorsements, and any post-closing continuation. Seller shall pay actual costs for a title search or continuation of title evidence acceptable to buyer's title insurance underwriter, not to exceed, if left blank, $200. B, tax search. C, municipal lien search.
I don't know all the details, but back in the day of Miami, there's some title problems, and it's really hard to issue title insurance in some areas. So
Hmm.
they have something called a title search or a continuation of title search. Our title search goes back to the history of time. A
Right.
traditional title search does. In Miami-Dade, there were problems in the past. They can't go back to the beginning of time. They insure from the purchase date to going forward. So it's a little bit
Gotcha.
different,
Got
and
you.
that's what it is. But there is an underwriter fee that's not to exceed, if you're left blank, $200. So in
That's
Miami, you would want to check with the title company and see what their fees are for that.
okay.
But you want to make sure you're covering the fee because if not, it's not to exceed $200.
Correct.
D, survey. You know my opinions on survey. 5 days prior to closing, buyer should, at buyer's expense, have the real property surveyed and certified by a registered Florida surveyor. If seller has a survey covering the real property, a copy shall be furnished to buyer and closing agent within 5 days after the effective date.
Just tell your buyer they're getting a survey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yes, even if the seller gives them one.
Yeah.
If I give you my survey, Joe, from the year 2000 when my house was built, that was 26 years ago.
Yeah, I don't know if you put up a fence, your neighbor put up a fence, you moved your dock, what, they're
All of the
usually
above have happened.
all, yeah, okay. So really, not a good idea.
Yep. But it's what the contract says it.
Yes,
And then
correct.
home warranty, we forget about home warranties,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it's right there in the contract.
Yep.
A home warranty at closing, buyer, seller, NA. So what should you do if you're not getting a home warranty?
Put NA.
Put NA. Don't leave anything unchecked,
Yeah,
right? And then things happen where people change things after the fact and
that's fine.
you miss that. I got a clear cut. It says NA, it says NA. If you
Mm-hmm.
go change it, check buyer later, then you have to initial that change,
Yeah,
right? So it's just very clear to fill in all the blanks.
right.
We have a lot of confusion around special assessments.
Oh my God, yes, we do.
So let's look at special assessments. You can start that one.
Okay. At closing, seller shall pay the full amount of liens imposed by a public body does not include a condominium or homeowners association that are certified, confirmed, and ratified before closing. And two, the amount of the public body's most recent estimate or assessment for an improvement which is substantially complete as of the effective date, but has not resulted in a lien being imposed on the property before closing. Buyer shall pay all other assessments. If special assessment may be paid in installments, check one. So, and there's a reason some assessments can't be split. So
Right.
seller shall pay installments due prior to closing, and buyer shall pay installments due after closing. Installments prepaid or due for the year or closing shall be prorated. Or B, seller shall pay in full prior to the time of closing any assessment allowed by the public to be prepaid. For an assessment which the public body does not allow prepayment, option A shall be deemed selected for such assessments. If neither box is checked, then option A shall be deemed selected.
Okay. A
Par-
lot of people get burned here too.
yes. This
Okay. So let's
paragraph,
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
So
Go
finish it.
ahead.
Go ahead and finish it.
This paragraph 9F shall not apply to special benefit tax lien imposed by a community development district, CDD, pursuant to Chapter 190 Florida Statute, special assessment imposed by a special district pursuant to Chapter 189 Florida Statute, which liens or assessments shall be prorated pursuant to Standard K. Bye, that was a mouthful.
It is a mouthful. And we covered standards a while ago. But anyway,
Yes.
still the contract goes back and forth, up and down between different things.
Yes.
So, for an example, there's places in Ruskin that were on well and septic,
Mm-hmm.
right? Ruskin used to be a very rural community. Ruskin is now a very CDD enabled Lenardi or Horton community,
Right.
right? So a lot of the older areas are on well and septic. They've decided to put public sewer in,
Public water. Mm-hmm.
right? But the county can't afford to do that on their own.
Right.
So they have special assessments they can do, and
Mm-hmm.
they're voted on. It's nothing that nobody knows about, right? They're
Mm-hmm.
public record.
Right.
So the county, they do a little vote for that little neighborhood and say, hey, we're going to charge everybody $3,000 to put in
The sewer.
a sewer
Mm-hmm.
system
Mm-hmm.
or 3,500, whatever the money is,
Right.
right? So it says to make it easy for the consumer, we're going to charge you $300 a month for the next 12 months.
Right.
I'm just making these numbers up.
Right.
Right. That would be A. The seller would pay the installments prior to closing, and buyer would pay installments due after closing.
Right.
Seller's going to pee in the toilet until they move out,
So they
and the
move
buyer's going to pee in the toilet once they move
after.
in.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fair. So A is the fair one.
Right.
B is where the sneaky people come in and check B and say, yeah, I know I peed in it for the first half of the year, but I want you to pay for that too.
Right.
I'm going to pee in it for the second half of the year. Seller, I want you to pay for my second half of the year. I want you to pay the whole assessment off.
Right.
Right. And it's not likely, it's not common, but I've had it happen where box B was checked and the seller
Mm-hmm.
was pissed because he had to pay the entire assessment rather than just the portion that he used.
And pay it off. They got
So
to
that's
pay it off.
another sneaky part. Line 196, when you get a contract, check that A or B must be checked, and A is the fair one.
So a good question is, how do I find out if there's a special assessment on the property?
I honestly don't know. I check with the title company.
Well, you can do that. And you also can look at the tax record to non-ad valorem because the special assessment should be in the non-ad valorem section
Correct.
of the
Wait, that's
tax.
not what same place as CDD would be,
Right.
but this does not mean a CDD.
Correct. It'll say a special. You might have to call and find out how long that special assessment is for because it doesn't always say that. It could be 1 year, it could be 20 years. You just don't know.
If it's a 20-year assessment and the seller's got to pay for it up front at closing, you're
Right.
going to have a pissed off seller who's
Yeah.
contractually bound to do so.
Right.
And
Right.
that would probably fall under the negligence category as well for a realtor's behavior.
Right.
Right. So paragraph 9 is important. I know it's not on page 1 because we all pay attention to page 1, but
Yeah.
page 2 and into page 3, there's some stuff in here that is important, and they're all highlighted, secretly hidden by this asterisk, hidden in plain sight. Right.
That is a great little tool just as a listing agent going down and checking them and make sure what's filled in and what's not filled in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was right. We're not going to have time to get to the standards today or to the
No,
code.
and paragraph 9 is a long paragraph.
It is a long one and it's got a lot of meat in it. It's got 3 places you can get burnt, right? Line 141, other,
Mhm.
line 154, other, and then paragraph special assessments.
Mhm.
Make sure every blank has something in it, or every
So
paragraph has a blank.
the special assessment, Craig, so that handles public special assessments. And then condo and HOA special assessments should be handled in their respective disclosures.
Yes, and your work next time we do a class together, probably 2 weeks from now, but you'll have the
Yeah.
new condo assessments updated. I know you're
Right.
working on that now.
Yep. Yep. We've got the checklist updated. We're just waiting for it to be uploaded. So that's a whole fun thing.
There you go.
And since we're coming up for buying season, it's good to go over that again because it did change quite a bit last July.
Yeah, I got a whole bunch of newsletters in my inbox this week, which I like getting for our February newsletter. Love is in the air.
Mm-hmm.
Happy Valentine's Day to everybody out there.
Yes.
Get your February newsletters out. They should be in your Moxie campaigns. I got an email yesterday, which I put in my sales menu folder to talk about on Tuesday with a link, but I couldn't log in because I don't know my username and password because Jimmy does it for me. But it gave me a link to check the report and see how many people opened your thing because it goes to my database, which is thousands and thousands of people.
Right.
Actually, it's funny because a customer of mine and an agent who are friends. An agent has one of my customers who's in my database listed,
Hmm.
and they're trying to pick a price now. He got my newsletter and he read my newsletter, and it was so optimistic he wants to raise his price. So the agent called me and said, "What the hell are you doing? I'm trying to get this price down, and he's going up because of your words." I said, "Well, read my words more carefully because it didn't say they're going up. It said it's becoming more fair, and buyers are going to have more competition or more leverage and negotiating power."
The
So, but
key is
people
going
do
the
read
key
these newsletters, and that was pretty funny, I thought.
yeah, the key is going to be supply, right? And
Yep.
demand. I mean, that's just the way it works.
Yep.
So we'll see how spring goes.
There you go. Happy
Yes.
Friday. Happy Valentine's Day. Have a great weekend. We're here for you if you need anything. Just let us know. What
Thank
is the
you.
correct latest contract date? Uh,
On well, you mean the contract we're using the Michael, the current contract
it's FAR bar as is 7, revised 12/24.
12/24. Now, Craig, they may be revising it because
They
they're
will be.
adding what's that?
They will be.
Yeah, they'll be revising because they have additional wording for the FinCEN coming
Yeah.
in.
The other thing, you can be sure of is if it's in dot loop, it's the most current form.
Yeah, whatever's in dot loop is current.
Just go by that. We're not going to
Yeah.
steer you wrong. If the upgrades, we're going to know about it before anybody else does.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
But I would imagine by the end of this month we should because March 1st is the new FinCEN stuff and they
Yep.
have new wording for that. So I'm going to guess we're going to get an updated contract with that wording.
Probably by March 15th.
I hope it's by March 1st, but
Oh, come on. You know better than that.
uh,
All
I
right.
always
Happy
love it
Friday.
when they give it to you the day before. So anyway, thank you, Craig.
Thank you, guys.